All right, so you're ready to record your first podcast. Do you have a microphone? Who's going to distribute for you? Do you have a studio? What about the editing? All right, everyone relax because I think I have the answer. Anchor app. Yeah, Anchor. It's free. They distribute Spotify, Apple, many more. There's creation tools that allow you to edit and create your podcast from your phone, your laptop, or your personal computer. And the best thing of all, girl, you can make money no matter how many listeners you have. So the answer is simple. Get Anchor. Anchor FM app. Go find it now. Tell them a seat at the table sent you.
I want you to know I'm happy for you. I want nothing but the best for you both. Everybody, another version of me. Is she perverted like me? Will she go down on you in the theater? I don't remember the rest of the song. But the love that you made wasn't able to make it enough for you to be open wide. No. And every time she screams your name, does she know that you told me you hold me until you die, till you die? But you're still alive, and I'm here to remind you of the mess you left when you went away. It's not fair to deny me of the cross I bear when you get to me. You, hard to know. Okay, thank you. I just needed to get that out, you know? I needed for it to come out. I am stir crazy, as I perceive that most of you are. Welcome to an all-new episode of A Seat at the Table podcast, where there's always a seat for you. If you are a first-time listener, welcome. Welcome. The ushers will be coming down the aisle with a welcome packet for you. If you are a returning guest, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate you coming back for some more. I am your hostess with the mostest, Gail. Okay, so today, you guys, let's just all take a deep breath. Let's breathe into the diaphragm. Hold it into your chest. Okay, now let it go. Let it go. Relax, release. Relax, release. Just, okay. All right, we're fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Everyone's fine. We're all fine. Everything's fine. No one's freaking out. Certainly not me. Now, if you have been hiding under a rock somewhere, you may not be privy to the news that there is a national pandemic happening. Yeah, I hate to be the one to give you this news first. However, we do have some shit going on. All right, so this week, we, the United Nations, have been lodged into the fight versus the virus. President Trump took extraordinary steps this Wednesday that just passed, announcing suspension of all travel from Europe to the U.S. in an effort to contain the coronavirus, or COVID-19. Now, if you recall, the president did downplay the virus for a few days. And then all of a sudden this week, all of those claims struck a very sober tone as a nationally televised address from the Oval Office kind of spoke about the travel ban, which took effect as of Friday, I believe 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that travel ban will last for the next 30 days. And this is an effort to keep the new cases from entering the U.S. Now, you have to realize that the U.S. death toll from the virus, and this was from earlier this week, my numbers are, but it climbed from a very dismal number to 37. and the number of infected Americans has reached in the thousands. New York City or New York State is close to 1,000 cases. So there's a lot going on. But the White House did walk back Trump's statement afterwards, his statement of saying that that the pandemic was not as alarming as previously noted by several medical physicians and what have you. He did manage to walk that back. And listen, if you're a conspiracy theorist, I don't believe Shonda Rhimes could have wrote this kind of. I mean, it's bizarre. It's extremely bizarre events. For me, I mean, we've lived through SARS, we've lived through H1N1, we've lived through quite a bit of things. I mean, niggas used to be scared to go to their mailbox because they thought they were going to open up the letter and there would be some powder in there and somebody was going to give you something, you know. But this is completely uncharted territory for the U.S. and you know, I think we are all just kind of waiting and seeing and taking a wait and see approach. Several retailers, including Walmart, Nike, Apple, Urban Outfitters, Gap, brands have all decided to kind of cut back on hours, if not completely shut down. And again, this is just kind of in an effort to contain the situation. I think it became very real when the Dow Jones saw its biggest drop, in history, as far as I know, dropping more than 20% below average. Now, you have to realize that during the Trump administration, one thing that he could guarantee was that his rich friends would, in fact, stay rich due to economic activity and financial protocols that have been put in place by his administration. However, he could not control the free fall of the market this week, which again dropped by more than 20%. No doubt that this will have an alarming, I would say, precursor on this year's election. I think that his handling of this has been bizarre, if not delayed. I think our government, even though the House just passed a financial precedent looking to help corporations that have been hurt by this. I mean, you have to understand the economic impact of the coronavirus is probably the worst that we've ever seen. And the U.S. has been we are a service-led industry country. So when you have something like this, which directly affects the service industry, you have to imagine that the economic impact will be far beyond when the coronavirus is, contained and people are starting to feel better. We will still be feeling the economic impact of all of this. So I am praying for everyone who is, this is the first time that I've seen Broadway shut down their lights. This is the first time as far as I know, outside of perhaps for hurricanes, Disneyland and Disney World has only shut down 3 other times in history. And they are shutting down, as well as Disneyland of Paris also shutting down. Now, the good news is that, which I don't know how much bearing that this actually has on us, but the good news is that China was able to peel back their 15,000 cases to less than 15. However, they have taken unprecedented moves, including spraying and corona treatment centers that we in the States do not have as of yet. One thing that I can say is that this coronavirus definitely shed light to me on the lack of infrastructure that our politicians have set in place for things like a pandemic or a national emergency, of this caliber. So I am definitely surprised by that, but not in the least I'm surprised by it, but also not taken aback in the sense of we've always been scientifically beneath the times. If you follow any of the conspiracy theorists, you'll see that this week, Microsoft founder and CEO Bill Gates suddenly resigned from his post as CEO from Microsoft. This following the release of a video in which he talks about a pandemic being something that would take down this country, not actual warfare. And if you have been following the news, you'll also see that he is involved in an organization called Wellcome. That's WELLCOME, Wellcome. And they apparently have some affiliation with the COVID virus and the development of, and this is not just now, this is probably now in the making of a couple of years now that he's been involved with this company. And this company's their action plan was in order to develop the antidote, so to speak, for the COVID, was to go ahead and pick a testing site, which was in fact Wuhan, China. And so there's a lot of weird shit going on. You'll also see that if you follow politics and you follow any of the news behind finances and tech, you'll also see that Bill Gates was definitely chasing some dollars, even though you would say to yourself, well, why? He's one of the richest people in the world. But one of the things that's to note is that he was not very much a supporter of Elizabeth Warren because of her wanting to include a hefty tax on the wealthy. So all of this is public knowledge, and you guys can find this information just through regular Google searches like I did. So, I don't want to inundate you with a bunch of coronavirus news, because I just feel like that is what we've all been bogged down with. And I'm hoping that this episode can just make you laugh a little, right? Have you guys been quarantined and chilling? So, all right, let me just tell you. So I've been looking for a COVID-bae for about a few days now, or at least I thought I was, right? I thought like, oh yeah, just get you a little COVID-bae, somebody that you could just, kick it with while the virus is going on, and y'all could just snuggle up together, right? Sounds easier said than done. So, and I came to realize so it is. So if you guys follow this show, then you know that I had a little friend, right, last year around this time, and we had a little secret rendezvous, a little dating, a little we was hanging out. He does not live in this state, so it was the long distance, and he's a little younger than me, so I wasn't really into his attitude so much. I ain't got time to be raising nobody's kids, okay? But at any rate, so this guy, he decides that he's going to fly back in from wherever he is, because I swear he's been itching to listen to this show, and I would prefer that he did not. But at any rate, so he flies back in, and to be honest with you guys, I thought I knew what I wanted. I thought I wanted to quarantine and chill. But then it turns out that I did not so much want to quarantine and chill, because upon him calling me last night, I realized I don't want to chill with you. Like, you just flew on a plane all day. You've been funny money this whole time. And I don't think that's what I want. QUARANTINED. Do you know what that means? I didn't want that with him. I didn't want that. And I felt so bad because, as opposed to just telling him, you know what, maybe on second thought, we should not quarantine and chill, I just made him keep calling me and keep texting me, and I ignored it until finally I woke up this morning to a barrage of fuck you texts, which, I laughed. And listen, y'all, all of us know that you can definitely, like, can you finesse a fuck you text? I think you can. I can finesse a fuck you text, right? So, like, you know, I woke up, I gave it some time, like, you know, I was like, listen, like, man, I fell asleep last night.